A constructor is a method that runs whenever an instance of a class is created. In this lesson, you'll learn how to use constructors and add them to your own classes. To begin, open the My Project sample file from your Sample Files folder. And open myclass.cs. Now you're going to add a constructor method to the class. Add the following code inside myClass. Public myClass, begin brackets, end brackets, begin curly brackets, end curly brackets. This is a simple constructor method. Any code that you place inside this method will run when a new instance of the class is created. In order to be recognized as a constructor, the method must have the same name as the class that it belongs to. Notice how the syntax differs from a normal method. There is no void or other return type before the method name. This syntax is only used by constructors. Add the following code inside the constructor method. Int property equals 15. This code will set the value of int property to 15 whenever a new instance of the class is created. Let's see the constructor in action now on the calculator.aspx page. Open the code behind file of calculator.aspx. And you might remember in lesson 6.4, you created an instance of the myClass class in the pageLoad event handler. Set a breakpoint at the end of the pageLoad event handler now, and start debugging. When the code pauses, check the value of the myClassInstance.IntProperty property. You can see that your constructor has set the value of the property to 15. Now stop debugging, but leave the breakpoint in place. Next, you're going to add some arguments to your constructor. Just like any other method, constructors can have arguments. Return to myclass.cs and add an argument to the constructor method with the code int starting number, and change the code inside the method to int property equals starting number. This code adds an argument to the constructor called starting number and sets int property to the number provided in the argument. This should look very familiar to you. It's exactly the same as adding arguments to any other method. Adding arguments to methods was covered in lesson 6.6. Now return to the code behind file of calculator.aspx, and you can see that the line that creates an instance of your class is now marked as an error. This is because it's trying to create an instance of the myClass class without providing the required argument. Fix this by providing an argument of 17. This means that when the constructor runs, it will set the value of int property to 17. You could provide any int value for this argument. Start debugging again, and the breakpoint should still be in place, so your code pauses at the end of the pageLoad event handler. Now check the value of myClassInstance.IntProperty, and you can see that your constructor has set the value of the property to 17. Now stop debugging, remove the breakpoint, and close Visual Studio. You've now completed Lesson 6.11. Create a class constructor method.